You used to sit with a problem a little longer. Now you reach for something before the thought finishes. You used to stay in that small confusion. Now you exit it faster than you notice. You open a blank page. You pause, then you check how it should sound. You used to write through the awkward first lines. Now those lines never appear. Answers started coming too fast, and this is what followed. Not that thinking stopped, something smaller changed. The moment where you didn't know what to do next used to be where something formed. Now it's where something gets replaced. And the strange part is, it feels like nothing changed at all.
You didn't decide to do this. It started in small moments. You got used to checking before continuing. You'd hit a sentence that felt off. Instead of adjusting it, you asked for a better version. You'd reach a point where you weren't sure. Instead of staying there, you moved around it. At first, it felt like support, like something helping you move faster. And it did, just not in the way you expected. Because that pause, that slight friction, was never empty. It was where you tried things that didn't work, where you followed a thought without knowing where it goes. We notice how quickly answers appear now. What's harder to notice is what disappears right before that. Not the result, the part just before it. The few seconds where you would have kept going, even without being sure. And now those seconds barely happen. So the question isn't whether you're thinking less, it's what part of thinking you stopped staying inside.
Before we begin, if you value quiet, thoughtful content like this, subscribing helps this channel grow and makes it possible to keep creating videos without noise or hype. Thank you for being here. Now, let's begin.
Once you notice where this happens, it starts showing up everywhere. Because it's not about speed, and it's not about better answers. It's about what happens in that small gap before you reach for one. That moment used to belong to you, even when it felt slow, even when it felt unclear. Now it gets filled too quickly, and nothing about that feels dramatic. It feels efficient, normal even. That's why it's easy to miss. But if you look closely, you'll start to notice where it shows up. Not in big decisions, in small, forgettable ones. A sentence you don't finish, a thought you don't follow. This doesn't change what you can do, it changes what you stay with long enough to actually think. And once you notice where that moment disappears, you start to see how often it already has. You're writing something. You reach a sentence that doesn't feel right. You stop. You hesitate for a second. That second used to be enough. You'd try another version. Maybe worse, maybe better, but it was yours. Now that second feels different. It feels like a signal to check. So you do. You open something. You ask for options. You read them. And they sound cleaner than what you had. So you pick one. Or you adjust it slightly. And then you continue. In that moment, it even feels like progress. But something small didn't happen. You didn't stay inside the confusion. You stepped around it. That awkward middle, where the sentence is unclear, where the idea isn't fully formed, that's where your thinking used to take shape. Not in the final version, in the struggle before it. And now that part gets skipped so smoothly, you barely notice it's gone.
You write a message. It's almost right, but not quite. You read it again. You feel that small hesitation. Before, you would have changed a few words, maybe made it worse first, then fixed it. Now, you delete it. You open something, you paste the message, you ask for a better version. A few options appear. You read them. They sound smoother than yours. You pick one, maybe adjust a word, then you stop again. Because now it doesn't fully feel like yours, so you hesitate in a different way. You didn't remove the doubt, you just moved it. Before, the doubt was inside the writing. Now it's after the result. And what's easy to miss is this. You still feel like you're thinking, you're choosing, you're deciding. But the part where you shape something before it's clear, that part barely happens anymore. And it's not obvious because everything still gets done, just without that middle part you used to pass through.
If this feels familiar so far, not as information, but as something you've been dealing with, we keep a growing collection of prompts, tools, and simple frameworks designed to help you think more clearly, start more easily, and work better in this environment. We add to it over time. Nothing overwhelming, just practical resources you can return to when you need them. If you want access, you will find it in the description. Now, let's continue.
It helps to notice where you leave too early. Not in big moments, in the small ones you usually ignore. A sentence that feels unfinished, a thought that doesn't connect yet, that slight discomfort before anything is clear. You don't have to force yourself to stay there, just notice how fast you move past it, how quickly something else fills that space. Sometimes you open a tool without thinking. Sometimes you just stop and switch direction. But the pattern is the same. The moment where something could have formed gets replaced before it has the chance. And over time, you stop expecting anything from that space. It just becomes a gap you skip. But that gap wasn't empty. It was the part where your thinking didn't need to be right yet. So when you catch yourself reaching out of it too fast, what are you actually stepping away from? You're still making decisions, just not in the moment where they used to feel like yours. If you're starting to notice this while you work, that's exactly where this becomes useful. We built the Prompt Master for this stage. Not to think for you, but to sit next to you while you're still figuring it out. It doesn't remove that middle. It helps you stay in it a little longer. If you want it, it's linked below. You can use it quietly. No system to follow, no pressure to do it right. Just something to reach for without leaving the moment completely. Because once you start seeing this, you won't want to lose that space so easily. You didn't lose your thinking, you just stopped staying inside one part of it. That small moment where nothing is clear yet, where you would have tried something anyway, that's the part that quietly got replaced. And once you start noticing it, you see how often it happens. Not in big decisions, in the small ones you move through every day. A sentence you don't finish, a thought you don't follow. And that part connects to something bigger, because if those small moments keep disappearing, what happens to the decisions built on top of them? That's exactly what we're looking at next. The next video continues from here.
If you made it this far, it means this topic matters to you. In the next video, we continue building on this with clearer understanding, practical perspective, and ideas you can actually use. Following the channel really helps us keep developing content like this and adding more resources over time. The next video continues from here. You can watch it now.